The college football show, the voice of college football, kind of goes together. Well, we are blessed to have you. Certainly leave those comments and questions there in the chat. We appreciate you stopping by. And speaking of being blessed, we are especially blessed today because we got Leanne Herring co-hosting for a bit. Leanne, how you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on. We're really excited. Of course, you guys get to see Mark and I talk a lot of recruiting, and we're just a couple weeks away from talking portal. So make sure you guys tune into our On the Move show every Tuesday. It looks like we're pretty locked in. Got a big weekend ahead. We were just talking about some of the things we have planned. Of course, we'll be over at the OT7 in Dallas. A lot of key recruits, top prospects. We may have some commitments, so a lot to tune in for the show on Tuesday, but. For all our Rebel fans who tune into our Ole Miss Live, don't worry, I haven't converted. I haven't converted to Texas A&M, but I felt like today, because we have a new Aggie commit and just what Mike Elko's doing down there, that I had to pull out some Aggie gear and say gig 'em just every once in a while. There's only a couple of times that I'll say gig 'em and go Aggies. Other than that, full Rebels, full Kentucky all the way. But for today, really excited. Thanks, Mark, for letting us bring the newly committed, freshly inked 4-star commit, wide receiver. Of course, we've talked a lot about his counterpart, Mark, Keyshawn Henderson out of Legacy Sports and Science School in Houston, who's been a long time commit to Houston, and his counterpart who's catching those touchdowns usually in the end zone, Mike Brown, fresh off a strong showing over at the Elite 11 out in Houston region. Austin Regional is fresh commit to the Aggies. Of course, we know that his father, longtime NFL veteran, Aggie legacy, the DNA football genes run deep. We know that his brother, too, over at Tulane, has made quite a promising career heading to the pros. So we're excited to have Mike Brown on, talk about his Aggie commitment and just kind of his road to his recruitment here soon.
Tukey G first in the chat. That's pretty customary at this point. He pretty much makes that happen each and every time, letting us know it's Friday. So you know what that means, Tukey G. It means that we're just about 3 weeks away from your prized first ever call-in show that is in your honor, Tukey G. So we are going to do this starting in just a couple weeks, folks. What this is going to be, we're going to do a late night call-in show once a week. And I didn't think it was fair to do it like on a particular night. So we're going to mix it all up. So each and every Sunday night, we'll do something fun and figure out, hey, when are we going to do the first call-in show for that particular week? So we want to mix it up so everybody gets to take part at some point. So every Sunday, I don't know, I'm going to grab somebody random and they're going to select, or we're going to do a poll or a vote or something. So first honors go to Tukey G. So we'll be showing up April 11th, 11 p.m. Eastern time with a late night call-in show, because so many of you, and I do appreciate it, show up every couple days and make some kind of comment to me that, Mark, you used to do all these late night call-in shows and you don't do them anymore. So let's get a late night call-in show. So I will be doing just that. And you can even name the time, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I shouldn't even throw those out as options. I'm probably beating myself up for doing that. I probably shouldn't go that route for sure. But everybody take a picture, Leanne, with the Texas A&M hat on. You can hold it against her later, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I feel okay because we're not playing A&M right now in the tourney, so there's no bad juju. I know if Ruby was on here, she would be telling me to pack it up. And yeah, I was a little bit leery opening that keepsake box where I had some A&M gear stash from a long time ago, and brought it out. And Ruby dawned in my head. I said, oh my gosh, I hope that I'm not putting any type of crazy juju. And I was like, I don't think we're playing any A&M anywhere across the board, so hopefully not. But of course, tune into the college football show. I caught the late night show that you did a couple weeks ago. Super entertaining. Glad to see that it's back. I just feel like I told Mark a lot of times that I just feel like those late night shows, when everybody's kind of settled and especially kicking back and relaxing, that it's definitely entertaining to talk ball late at night. So I don't know about 2, 3 a.m., but I know the show last time went pretty hefty for an impromptu thing. So excited about that.
Now, if we went through all of Leanne's qualifications on the banner, we would keep our guest waiting. So we can't do that. We got Mike Brown, a new Texas A&M wide receiver commit with us. Mike, we appreciate you stopping by. Good to see you.
Hello, everyone. I see you as well.
I was telling him, Mike, that I had a rummage through my keepsake box because I normally wouldn't be sporting Texas A&M gear, but we knew that we were having you on the show, so got to show some love to the Aggies and gig 'em. We've been talking a lot about you, so your ears have probably been ringing. I'm glad to have you on the show. We know that you're getting ready to go to practice and whatnot. So, Mark, you want to kick things off and get things rolling since this is your show and I'm just here for the ride.
Absolutely, we can do that, Mike. It's great to have you, and thanks so much for showing up. It's got to be exciting to commit to one of the best football brands in the SEC. And obviously, Mike Elko is known for defense. So people think Mike Elko, they think defense, and think about a strong Aggie defense year after year. Obviously, you playing wide receiver, making connections with Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator, and also your wide receiver coach there, Holman Wiggins. Just talk about your relationship with the offensive side of the coaching staff and how that's been.
My relationship with the offensive side is pretty good. I feel like I really connected with Coach Wiggins. Probably the second time or second or third time I came to A&M after Coach Wiggins was just got there, right? We were talking, we were just in his room, just talking about my film, breaking it down and talking and correlating it with players that back in Alabama, the school he just came from. So I really connected with him, and he was telling me all the stuff that I need to do and telling me how to run routes and certain stuff. And I just feel like I can really bond with him and learn from him.
So whether it was, go ahead, Leanne.
I was going to say, the football DNA definitely runs strongly in your family with your brother and, of course, your father with his career in the NFL. But he's also an Aggie legacy. What does it mean for you in a program that you grew up around? I'm sure that your father would support you and would support you no matter the slew of choices that you had as far as a program. But what does it mean to you and your family personally to be able to, to continue the Brown legacy over there in College Station?
It feels really good to know that my father has already done something that I'm trying to do, and to know that there's a ceiling that I have to break through to prove that I am myself. And I'm glad that my father has built this opportunity for me, and he's always been there for me every step of the way. So I thank him so much for that.
So not just with Texas A&M, Mike, but obviously with getting so many offers and going to so many camps, talking to so many coaches, what is basically their scouting report on you, and what are they saying about what you bring to the table?
I would say most of the schools, I always say that I'm a smooth route runner, and I have good hands, and I know how to break down the game. I know how to break down their coverage, and I know how to just get open.
We talk a lot about wide receivers having chemistry with their quarterbacks, and you've been fortunate enough to definitely have a pretty good guy in Keyshawn Henderson be able to have and create a chemistry with you on the field. Both of you two highly touted in-state recruits. Obviously, a lot of Texas schools were looking to you, and both of you remaining, close to your Houston roots. Can you kind of talk about how both of you have kind of fed off of each other? Because, those who don't scout in Texas maybe have not been so familiar with Keyshawn and yourself, but those of us who have been ingrained in Texas recruiting, definitely know both your names. But can you talk a little bit about how you guys have really built off each other and how you continue to make each other? I know we saw a couple clips from your Austin regional, and you guys just have this really unique chemistry. One thing that really jumped out of the film is this, separation that you managed to create when you get on the field. But can you kind of talk about how your relationship has really helped both of you grow and how it's just how you kind of feed off of each other?
Well, since me and Keyshawn have been going to the same school since 6th grade, we have been best friends for a while, right? So we've always been working together. We've always been grinding. And every time we go to camp together, I always tell Keyshawn, I'm going to go with you because I know Keyshawn, and Keyshawn knows me. So I know Keyshawn can get me to where I need to get him, and I can get him where he needs to get. So really, we just built a chemistry for a good amount of years, right? We've always been there for each other. I can tell him anything. He can tell me anything. So just, yeah.
the Aggies have done an extensive job on the recruiting trail. Mike Elko definitely building a strong in-state class, but some other the wideout room over in Aggie land over there is definitely with you included. But can you talk about maybe some of the other guys? I don't know if you've had a chance to talk with Aaron Gregory, another highly touted commit that's in your class, but can you kind of talk about the atmosphere? I know we talk a lot about getting recruited by the coaches, but what play into your commitment, as far as the other guys who are going to be in your class? How did they help with your recruiting and ultimately choosing to head to College Station next year?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to meet. Actually, I've met Aaron Gregory probably last year at A&M's Junior Day, but I haven't been able to meet Madden. But eventually, I will. I know I will. But what played into what was a major play into the part was that I felt wanted in the school, and I felt like that they could use me, and I felt like Coach Wiggins can better me and help me to get me where I want to be, which is the NFL. Right.
So, Mike, are you still going to take any other visits?
I don't have any on my mind at the moment. I'm pretty locked in on A&M.
So, will you be playing? I probably have asked you this off the air, but for those who want to tune in and catch you this off season, we know we're hoping to get down to Legacy and, of course, see you guys and the rest of your team practice for spring ball. But as far as 7-on-7 or anything, do you have anything upcoming, or where can Aggie fans catch you, or just anybody who's really interested in learning and seeing what kind of talent you bring to the table? You have anything coming up as far as not visits, but where you're going to be playing and practicing, where maybe people can catch you?
No, ma'am. I usually I have three trainers actually. Excuse me. I just I don't really do 7-on-7 because I feel like there's a good chance I could go out there and get injured. So I don't want to take that risk. And also, I usually just train at Shadow Creek High School or York Middle School for track, for running, and I don't really do much, but just train and work out.
Well, that's awesome. And I love that real answer about, I know, especially for a wide receiver, especially being highly touted, there's always that pressure to play 7-on-7. So definitely love that real answer and your approach to it. I don't know, Mark, if you have anything. I know you're getting ready to head to practice because you're always on the move and always working. But if Mark doesn't have anything else, thank you so much for being on the show. Glad to finally have you on and be able to talk to you about your commitment to the Aggies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, Mike Brown, and another excellent interview that Leanne has lined up for us here at the Voice of College Football. So, Leanne, thank you once again. Mike Brown, we just talked about him the other day on the recruiting show, and voila, there he shows up in just a few days later. So your connections are remarkable. So thank you for that. And that leads us into the recruiting show that we do with Leanne each and every Tuesday, folks. Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we talk all over the place in regards to the landscape of recruiting across all the major conferences. And again, we have had a number of great interviews that have been added to the show in recent weeks, thanks to Leanne. So thank you so much for that. And you are off to Dallas.
I am. I have to drop the boys off in San Antonio. We have a triple header in lacrosse this weekend. But I will be going to OT7. Really excited tomorrow. There's going to be some big names up there. We're going to get to see Mike Brown's counterpart playing for DEFCON United, Keyshawn Henderson. We'll see Aaron Gregory, City Reapers, South Florida Express is out there. We're going to have all sorts of coverage. Excited to make the early trip to Dallas, and maybe we'll tune in this weekend and bring you some clips, but a lot of wrap up on the show. And again, I want to thank Mike for coming on the show. He's been wanting to talk with us. Again, if you haven't had the chance to see him, Aggies, go ahead and catch up his tape because he's someone to get really excited about. Mike Elko has done a great job, and I think that the Aggies have kind of been on blast when it comes to recruiting because we know that the last couple seasons they've managed to ink some of the nation's top class, but like we often say, it hasn't really translated. But I think now in Mike Elko, as he's adjusted and as he's settled in, he's taking a new approach. And of course, DJ Man, leaving Ole Miss over to Texas A&M back to his roots, has really helped build relationships and continue. So I really think that this might be the season that the Aggies really find that zen, as I like to call it, on the recruiting trail, but finally get some young kids that are going to be playmakers, just like Mike Brown, just like Aaron Gregory, and the list goes on. But with this addition of Mike Brown and Aggie legacy, he really does bring a lot to the table. As I said it on air with him, when you watch his film, aside from being an elite route runner, having an extremely high football IQ, I really think what's going to continue to separate is his separation when he gets on the field. No matter what defender is put across from him, the separation that he creates and the control he has when he gets onto that ball is going to create a lot of chaos in the near future. So again, we look forward to getting down to legacy SSS as they call it this spring to bring you more. But thank you for having us on the show. Thank you for having us on the show, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of your weekend. And I want to say hotty toddy, but I think in this instant I'll say gig 'em. We'll see you later, Mark. Y'all have a good one.
Everybody, Leanne, before you take off, I just want to challenge everybody, just try to keep up with her. Follow her on Twitter, Leanne Herring, RW, right there, and look at everything that she's got going so you can catch her work at the Rebel Walk, but also at UK Cats Wire, as Leanne is now tracking Kentucky football and basketball. Has some great articles that she posted this week on the Kentucky basketball team. And then also Jarvis Strickland, the #1 high school recruit in the state of Kentucky. So again, try to keep up with her. I can't, so maybe you can do it, but you got to follow her on Twitter, and then you can track all of her work on Ole Miss and Kentucky. All right, Leanne, have a great weekend.
You too. We'll see you guys next week. Gig 'em.
We got a gig 'em out of Leanne there. I was going to ask Mike if he would give us a gig 'em. I actually have a gig 'em on tape somewhere. It's probably burned at this point, or it's probably on some 3/4 inch tape somewhere, where I was doing, I was at the, whatever year it was, college baseball regional tournament. So the NCAA tournament was at College Station. It's the only time I've ever been there. And I put on the foam finger and gave it the Gigamaggies. And I had never done it before. And so somebody had to kind of school me on it, give me the 5-second run through training on the Gigamaggies, whoo. I think that's went something like that. I don't think I've done it since until then, but there we go. And I even thought to change the set and get the Texas A&M helmet right there. So we just heard from Leanne Herring, of course, Rebel Walk and Cats Wire. I got to process that for a second because she just started on the Kentucky platform for USA Today, Cats Wire. And then, of course, we are blessed to have her here at the Voice of College Football on a regular basis on our recruiting shows every Tuesday, folks. Every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Got to make that a appointment, a date with us, with Leanne and myself every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And again, the college football show is what we do here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Let me check out the chat, and maybe I'll track down our next guest and get him in here a little bit earlier. Possibly, maybe. We will do our best. We've got Chris Drew coming in from Menace to Sports. And I know this is bad hosting, but give me just a second and I will let him know. That he is welcome to come in anytime. Meanwhile, we will drop the call-in line in the chat as well. Todd's here. Tukey G again. Tukey G gets more airtime these days than I do. Jackson, good to see you as always, of course. What's the countdown, Jackson? We're at 148 days. You don't just get the one countdown from Jackson. He gets us to week 0 at 148. He gets us to week 1 on the Thursday night. He gets us to week 1 on the Saturday. and then tack on a couple more days because, of course, on that opening weekend, it's the best weekend for college football fans when it comes to just football, being able to watch football for the longest period of time because you got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on opening weekend. Love it. Moose is here. Dave's here. Dave's here. Paul, I don't know that we've seen you in the chat. Don't know that we necessarily need to be talking about such things. Maybe if we see one other comment of that idiocy, then we will get rid of that. I was having a breakdown on one of my Georgia shows. Really? Was I? Anybody else? Anybody else here? I believe Karen stopped in as well, and so did Todd. Good to see all of you. Chris Drew's coming in here to talk college football with us. Menace to Sports. Chris Drew, the sidekick to Zach Smith. I got to reach out to Zach and have him back as well. I saw one story of note that came down this afternoon, and that was involving one Deion Sanders. You may have caught this. Deion is now a rich man. Well, Deion was already a rich man. He's a richer man. He's a rich man. I don't even know if Deion Sanders at this point is making the most money off of his salary. I would be willing to guess that this is actually, yes, I would be willing to bet that this is the lower portion, the smaller portion of what he earns in total. So we've got Deion Sanders has earned a 5-year, $54 million contract extension. That's a little journalistic license there by Heather Dinich. He's received one? Has he earned it? I don't know. That's up for debate. Has he earned it? Well, okay. Runs through the 2029 season. It's the highest paid coach in the Big 12, one of the highest paid in the country. Base salary, $10 million in 2025, highest paid coach in the Big 12. You know, if you look at the popularity of this Colorado program and the money that they bring in for the Big 12 through television ratings, he's earned it. Forget the record, and the record's been really good, considering 1-11 the year before he got there, 4-8 after a 3-0 start in 2023, and then 9-4 last season and in contention for the Big 12 championship up until the last weekend of the season, the last day of the season. And then if you look at the TV ratings, I don't know that there's ever been anything like it in the history of college football. The year before, a 4-8 football team being watched by more people than almost any team in the country. And then this past season, regardless of the record, which again was a great improvement at 9-3 in the regular season, where the 7 highest rated conference games in the Big 12 all involved Colorado. So they only play 9 conference games, and 7 of them were the highest rated, 1 through 7. And then the 10 highest rated games of the season in the Big 12 all involved Colorado. What does that have to do with? It has to do with Deion Sanders. Before it was Travis Hunter, before Shadur Sanders, before Shiloh, any of them, it was Deion Sanders. Now, will Deion Sanders be able to replace those guys? He had 2 of the best players in the country last year. One on offense, one on defense. Will he be able to replace them and continue to win? This is one of the earmarks of a truly excellent coach. When I'm rating and evaluating coaches, the one thing I look at is, okay, has this coach gone multiple places and won? Or did he just maybe land at a particular spot? Dabo Swinney, for as great as he's been, one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football, he's only done it at one place. So we don't know if Dabo Swinney went fill in the blank, if he would be able to maintain that excellence and rebuild it somewhere else. We don't know that. I guess that he would. That would be my lean, but we haven't seen it. He's not Nick Saban, LSU, Alabama. He's not Urban Meyer, Florida, Ohio State, Utah, Florida, Ohio State. He's not a guy that's done it multiple places. And there's not too many guys. Well, those two guys have done it to that extreme beyond anybody. Can we think of anybody else who's been that good at two different schools? Wow, I'm going to be sitting here in silence trying to figure that one out for a while. I can't think of anybody who's been that good. Well, first of all, Urban Meyer's got the best winning percentage of all time, and Nick Saban is the most national championships. So they're arguably the two best of all time, at least statistically. And then, so to do it in two different places, I doubt if we can come up with anyone. And I am not coming up with anyone off the top of my head that was extremely, extremely successful. Like Steve Sarkisian won 60% of his games at Washington and USC, and now he's tearing it up at Texas. But Mike Elko had a nice little run for 2 years at Duke. You know, we're talking about nominal success. Mario Cristobal, Oregon and Miami, or Mark Richt at Georgia and Miami, go way back. I'd have to look up the records of Paul Bear Bryant at Kentucky and Texas A&M. I know that he won conference championships. So he would be a decent, but nowhere near those guys. So again, Deion Sanders, of course, won at Jackson State, but it's on a lower level. But here's the next hallmark of a great coach would be that he's won with different cycles of players. And more so, this is a evaluation on the NFL level, because coaches will come in at times and they'll be able to either inherit a core of players or will build through the draft. And of course, the coach is not responsible for the draft. But anyway, they will either inherit or they'll be given a core of players, and then they win with that core, and then they can never duplicate that. You know, when Tom Landry wins year after year after year after year for 20 years with different sets of players, and when Joe Gibbs wins 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, when Bill Belichick wins, well, same quarterback there, but obviously different teams over and over and over. That one could be debated, but that's kind of the other litmus test. And this is the first incarnation of Deion Sanders having to win with different key players at Colorado. And of course, it only was a 1-year run of winning at Colorado. But those are not knocks against him. He has not had the opportunity to show that as of yet. But in terms of popularity and TV ratings, he's earned this raise. 10 million next year, 10 million in 2026, then it pops up to 11 million, then 11 million, then 12 million in 2029. Look at this buyout. It's not much of anything. So if they've got to fire him, which I got to think because of the popularity standpoint, he is going to have to lose to get fired. First of all, Colorado does not have high standards. Number 2, it's Deion Sanders. And even 3 years from now, 4 years from now, if he's losing, he's still going to pull. It's going to be greatly diminished, but TV numbers, he's still going to pull TV numbers. Okay. So if he accepts another coaching job, so I looked at it from the Colorado standpoint of firing him, but in terms of a buyout, starts at 12 million. That's not much. 12 million. They don't even have to buy out the entire contract. Only a small pittance of the contract. 12 million. That's after one season. Then it goes to 10, then 6, then 4 and 3, and then it's basically not even worth talking about. He can retire from coaching, though, without having to pay damages to the university. as long as he doesn't come back and coach. And we know what he's achieved at Colorado. We've talked about that. He says he's excited. And the only reason I'm going through this quote is because it's Deion Sanders. He may have said something unique as opposed to the other typical quotes by any coach that would receive a contract extension. Greatness at the university, on and off the field. We've got a lot of work to do. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here, making history. Okay, so we threw something out there at the end there. Yes. Lastly, anybody got at least a 5-bedroom home with acreage for sale? I do not. Here are some of the stats that we're looking at right here, and this goes beyond football. This goes to the enrollment. That's pretty ridiculous. The university cited Sanders' impact on the school and its community, noting that applications have increased 20% from a year ago to 67,000, including an 18% increase in applications from out of state. And then, according to the school, applications from prospective students who identify as Black or African American increased 50.5%. Applications from prospective students who identify as non-white went up by 29%. Okay, if I'm going to go on a commentary here, it has nothing to do with any kind of racial situation, but it has to do with the decision-making process of anyone who chooses a school based on who the head football coach is. Now, if the presence of a particular head football coach caused you to look deeper into that university, so be it. But if you simply are choosing a university based on the head football coach, where are these parents? Where are they? Colorado sold out all but 2 home games, marking the first time the Buffs have sold out 4 or more since going back to 1996. Home football games generated a combined $94 million in direct economic impact to the city of Boulder and $146.5 million to the region. Oh, do I see the term national championships in there? Quote, Coach Prime has revolutionized college football, and in doing so, wait a minute. Has he revolutionized college football? He's revolutionized college football. I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm not just coming up right now with the way in which he's revolutionized college football. He is galvanized. He's energized that particular school's program, but revolutionized college football. Okay. Restored CU football to our rightful place as a national power. Well, hang on, Rick George, Colorado Athletic Director. CU is a national power? No. This extension not only recognizes coaches' incredible accomplishments transforming our program on and off the field, it keeps him in Boulder to compete for conference and national championships in the years to come. I stated this recently that, in my prediction that the Big 12 will not win any national championships in the next 10 years. I didn't necessarily account for the Deion factor. I believe that there are other programs that I am more confident that over time will be more successful. Certainly they have been in the past, and unless Deion just stays there for a long time and he truly just is able to sustain this, maybe Colorado will be better than Kansas State and Oklahoma State and schools like that have been better at football than Colorado for a long, long time. But there's no question. I would debate anyone that the school that has the only chance to win a national championship out of the Big 12 is Colorado. And I'm not saying that they have a legitimate chance, but I'm saying that they have the best chance. So it looks like, at least based on good faith negotiations, that this contract is going to stay in place for 2025, 6, and 7 at the least. And then after the 2027 season, then the two sides will, in good faith, look at a potential extension. So it looks like Colorado said, we're giving you the biggest contract in the Big 12, one of the 10 highest contracts in the country. Let's just understand, we are paying you for future success. And so let's not need to renegotiate this after next year, the year after, the year after. Do appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Once again, we will let you know that we got a recruiting show with Leanne Herring every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us on the recruiting channel, and it's right here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time every day, Monday through Friday. And while we try to get great guests, this is the top of the line. We rarely hit this mark, but we do our best every day. Chris, how you doing?
Mark, I'm better now. What's going on?
What is going on? We got Chris Drew here from Menace to Sports. And so happy to have you, man.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You feeling good?
No, feeling great.
Okay.
I'm a big baseball guy too, Mark. So yesterday I don't know if you ever heard of the 999 challenge. It's one hot dog and one beer every inning for 9 innings. See if you can finish it.
How would I not have heard of this?
I tried it yesterday, Mark. It didn't go well.
And they went extras.
I had to quit after like 6 innings. I had no more left in the tank.
Well, yeah. I like a good dog at stadium style. So you're sitting at home doing this, or you got some buddies?
Yeah, we're sitting at home practicing it with Pat, who's the producer over there at Menace to Sports. We're doing a little baseball challenge to celebrate opening day. You had the Reds in action, the Guardians in action. I'm a Yankees fan, so Yankees were in action. And I did not finish it, but he did. He made it all 9 innings.
I apologize. I blanked there for a second on your Yankee fandom. I remembered, that the Guardians win 11 against the Royals yesterday. See, you said 999. What came to mind, a little bit easier to accomplish, although it works the brain, is that my son often sends me his Immaculate Grid. Have you ever heard of this game or seen this game?
I absolutely have heard of the Immaculate Grid. It is so difficult to get the deep cut players in the grid. Yes, the Immaculate Grid, for those listening, it's like a chart, and it'll have teams on it, and you have to guess players that have played for both of these teams and at least recorded 1 inning, I believe.
Or you'll have categories. So you may have
like 3,000 hits, Yankees, red, like stuff like that.
300 batting average season, right field, meaning that player at least had to have played 1 game in right field for that particular team. But the trick is, folks, is that you're trying to think of the most obscure player you can to fit in that category, because the lower the score, and they will show you the percentage of votes cast or answers cast by that particular player.
Right.
My son sent me a 4. His final score on one of these grids was a 4. He's learned well from his old man.
Heck yeah. It means a baseball card collector, right?
Yeah. Well, that helps.
Yeah.
That helps as well. And I got a big advantage over him because, I can go back into the 70s with these guys.
You've been around a little longer.
That's a lot of fun. And also Sporkle. Have you ever looked at Sporkle? Do you know
I haven't played it, but I know what it is.
Yeah. So Sporkle, folks, is you can look, just look up any pro or college football, baseball team, any professional franchise, and then there's a list of quizzes, and they time you. They may say game 1 starting quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns and the history of the franchise, and you got to name all of them for each season in like 7 minutes, let's say.
I played the one where they put 3 athletes up, and they're all pro athletes, and you have to guess the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like that kind of quiz.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Just another good one, just for the people who are sports heads,
Chris, we were just talking about Deion Sanders got an extension, $54 million, 5 years, Man, if you just rate him on popularity, I broke down TV ratings a couple weeks ago, and when you go to the Big 12, it's unlike any other conference because Colorado had the 10 highest rated Big 12 games for the season. So obviously, he's drawing people. He goes from 1-11 before he got there to 4-8 to 9-4. So he's starting to, even some of his critics have to back off because he's winning, and now he seems committed.
Yeah. No, so when he first got there, a lot of national pundits thought that it was going to be more of a gimmick rather than the real thing. And initially, it's like, okay, like Colorado can afford to be the gimmick school because they were so bad for previous years. And when Prime got there, when Deion Sanders got there, immediately like spikes in, applications, like everything with the school went up. They had all these deals now with the school, merch sales went up. I mean, they sold out all the Colorado, Prime merch twice in the first like 3 months of him being there. And so it had its financial gain. And then he started winning, right? And it went from, okay, yeah, this is gimmicky to, wait a second, he's generating money and he's starting to turn the program around a little bit. And it made too much sense for Colorado. And honestly, like, I think that, Colorado probably got him at a steal when you consider the financial gain that they've received over the last 2 years with him there.
I know, it's crazy. And yeah, you're looking at the dominant attraction in the Big 12, and he's also doing it on the field. And the only point that I made that he has yet to prove, although if you include Jackson State, is that great professional coaches show that they can go through different cores of players. Like Joe Gibbs back in the day with the
Can you
Washington
go through
Redskins,
core
three
number
different
2,
quarterbacks, won
Right.
Super Bowls. Tom Landry sticking around for 20 years and winning every year, that sort of thing. And then the college equivalent to that for me is Dabo Swinney, for as good as he is only done it at Clemson. So we don't know if he could take his show on the road and you could just drop him into, Manhattan, Kansas, and he could win in Kansas State, where Urban Meyer, Utah, Florida, Ohio State, even Nick Saban. So Deion obviously at Colorado. So,
but here we go, Mark. I want to ask you: do you think he needed to prove any of that to get the extension?
No.
Okay, me too, because I think he did more than enough to get the extension.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I don't love everything Deion says. I don't love everything Deion does. But at Colorado, I mean, shoot, if you can win 6 games a year, Colorado, and also the stadium is going to get people in the stands, extend him. Now, like if I'm a big time program, like if I'm Florida and tomorrow I'm done with Billy Napier, I'm saying those same things in a meeting. Like, well, do we want to go after Prime? And I'm bringing up what you said.
Yeah,
I don't know if he could do it, but at Colorado, come on, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. Got Chris Drew here on Menace to Sports. You can catch him on right here on YouTube with Zach Smith every weekday, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern times. Just look up Menace to Sports on your favorite audio platform, or again right here on YouTube. So, Chris, I'm going to keep throwing stuff at you, but if you want to take it in another direction, you just spout off whatever you want to go at.
I'm ready.
But I'm going to bring up the Buckeyes. And for you, what's important this spring? Of course, the quarterback situation, we can let you start there, but what positions and what players do you think this is an important time of year for?
I call it the quarterback's best friend. And my belief, Mark, is that young quarterbacks, their 2 best friends are the slot and the tight end. And then I'll also lump the running backs into that. Ohio State, while they're not only, replacing, the most prolific receiver maybe in OSU history in Emeka, they also are replacing their quarterback. And so with a new quarterback, you want him to feel comfortable with the slot. The first scrimmage is this weekend. And one of the things that I'm paying very close attention to is how comfortable is Julian staying with Brandon Inniss, and can Brandon Inniss be the security blanket early? And if he's not, can Max Clare be that? Because I think early on in the season, because there's no chance, Mark, really for this Ohio State team to like dip their toes in. It's pedal to Texas immediately. And so there has to be like that comfort level. So I'm paying close attention to that slot tight end role and what it means for the quarterback if the quarterback is Julian Sand. I also am really curious to see what the offensive line configuration is going to be, just because you are replacing, a majority of it. Now, a lot of people think they have a general idea for it. But I just want to see how it plays out, because If it is Julian Sand, you're dealing with, 5 guys in front of him that are between 6'5" and 6'7". And just want to see how he maneuvers those passing lanes, because that is a jump in kind of size lineman he's played with. And additionally, like last year, Julian Sand didn't get a ton of reps in practice because they were set on Devin Brown being the number 2 quarterback all last year. Defensively, I'm most intrigued, I think, by the nickel spot, because I'm a big Bryce West guy. Like I'm a big Bryce West guy, but Lorenzo Styles served as the primary backup last year. What will that look like? So that's kind of my initial early spring thoughts. Of course, curious about the depth in a lot of places, but that's not fun to talk about in the spring. In the spring, you want to talk about the guys who are freak athletes and can they click it together. And for us, like to hear about, okay, this guy, the lights on, like this guy gets it, I think is what spring is for.
It's good to have the truth in the chat here, letting us know that Mark and Chris are the 2 favorite sons of Summit County. All right,
man, we are both Summit County guys. Remember last time on the show, we discovered that we ran around the same streets a little bit,
That's it. That is definitely it. This running back situation, CJ Donaldson comes in, a nice back from West Virginia, obviously James Peoples. But man, I just think that group has a lot to live up to replace Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. And I don't think it's reasonable to think that the running back production is going to be quite at that level. I don't know what the numbers are going to say, but I just think they probably have the best tandem in the country. So if they can get anywhere close to that, and it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It looks like Peoples is going to be the guy that can separate himself to an extent from a talent standpoint.
Ohio State goes through this because they're so good at recruiting and obviously like super elite. We've seen it for the past 10 years, Mark. This is what's going to happen. For a while there, we saw this with quarterbacks. For a while there, Ohio State was so spoiled with phenomenal quarterback play. And then you got a year of Kyle McCord, who wasn't awful, but definitely wasn't as elite as some of those other guys. And it felt like you were watching the worst quarterback of all time. They now have to deal with something similar, likely, in the running back room. The duo last year was the most talented running back room in the country. Easily. And the NFL is going to reflect that. People love both these backs, probably 2nd or 3rd round backs at the very, very latest. It's going to be an adjustment watching an every down, probably top 15 NFL running back trot out there every single play from a kid who we're now going to have to watch develop. I like Peoples a lot. I thought Peoples really flashed in moments last year. I was really impressed by his physique when he got here. I know he's got Cleveland ties. I've been impressed by his maturity, really elite family. All that being said, he's not nearly as good as Quinshon or Travion. So early in the year, there's going to be some, missed that hole. Trey wouldn't have got caught there. Q would have fell for 3 extra yards. But I think by the end of the year, everybody in Buckeye Nation will feel really comfortable with the running back that James Peoples becomes. But I'm going to beg everybody to be patient, because it is not realistic at all to compare him to Q or Trey, because physically those two are really, really special and kind of the heartbeat of 2 separate programs. So that's my belief on James Peoples. I'm a big fan. I think Donaldson makes sure that there is a floor there, right? I don't think they needed Donaldson. Obviously, they went after the kid from Texas Tech first. But for Donaldson, it's you just can guarantee that you'll have at least someone serviceable in that room in case something happens with Peoples.
What I like about Travion, Chris, is that there came a point in his career, and I think I first noticed it against Rutgers. There was a series of games there, but the Rutgers game stands out to me in 2023, where his first couple of years, obviously he had the huge freshman year, and then he had injuries to deal with the next year. But when it was well blocked, when it looked pretty, he looked pretty and it looked great. He started to grind after that. He got meaner. He got tougher. I don't know if the injury forced him into the weight room and he kind of reinvented himself slightly, and he just became an angrier back after that.
Definitely became an angrier runner. And honestly, I thought he was a little bit too angry the year before he left, because the year before he left, there was no avoiding tackles. There was no, I'm going to run past you. I'm going to run through you. And then I think kind of this last year, he put it all together. And I thought the footwork got better. I thought the vision got better. And yeah, like he went from running like a freshman to running like a senior. And I think that kind of thing matters. And his body definitely transformed twice, I think, in those last 2 years.
And then with Quinshawn, I don't know if it's just the attitude that he shows after the run, or that it's not always just a run. It was sometimes a block that he would get into. But man, he was always angry, always ran angry. But then sometimes it was, just,
it was kicked up a notch. It's like when the teapot blows up a little bit, like the tea kettle starts whistling. But Q's always been like that. Like Q, Mark, I don't know if you know, Q was a 3-star guy from Alabama. Wasn't really recruited by Bama, ended up at Ole Miss, shattered every SEC freshman record there. His name was kind of slandered in that final, 6 weeks at Ole Miss. So he already ran angry, and then all those things kind of added to the fire. I mean, like, shoot, dude, like every 2 or 3 weeks, Lane Kiffin was coming out saying something about Quinshawn Judkins. An Ole Miss fan was saying something about Quinshawn Judkins. He, refused to play, wanted more NIL dollars, locker room cancer. So he was doing, got the additional 3, 4, 5, 6 extra chips on his shoulder. But yeah, I love Q, and honestly, I think Q running mean, I think, brought the best out of Travion as well.
Folks, we're here every Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, bringing on the best guests in college football now that we're clearing through some March Madness. So you'll see Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered here next week, Peter Burns from the SEC Network, and others. Chris Drew's here today, Menace to Sports. I don't want to get away from that Summit County comment. So what does high school football look like in the Akron area and in Northeast Ohio these days? Is it what it's been in the past? What
the quarterbacks over here look a lot different throwing the ball. They're getting a lot better, and they're throwing the ball more like modern football players. We've got a lot of big time athletes. Honestly, like Ohio State is, coaches nationally are all over Akron. Hoban is in Akron. Elbert Hill, he's the number 1 athlete in the country, or he was per most services. He, is taking visits to Alabama, taking visits to, all over the place, Oregon, all that. He's fantastic. Trey McNutt from Cleveland. He obviously is committed to Oregon. Sam Greer, the 4-star offensive lineman that's about 6'8", big kid. Hoban, he also committed to Ohio State. So we've got pretty decent football right now in Northeast Ohio, and obviously like Brad Mandler and the job he's done. He's like the big quarterback coach out here, and he has transformed the way a lot of quarterbacks throw the football. More like the snappy, pretty releases you're seeing, and because of that, more college coaches are coming to Summit County to recruit. I mean, shoot, Drew Aller from Summit County. That's the you started quarterback at Penn State. Obviously, we've got guys everywhere. So no, the high school football's been pretty good, man. Bookville East, Hoban, St. V's pretty down right now football wise, but they'll be back at some point. Walsh is decent. So we've got some pretty good football. We sent a lot of players to the MAC though. Is number 1, of course.
So, Chris, we want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you. So we got the X handle right there. He's Menace to Sports, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time. Anything else that you got going that people need to know about?
Man, I'm easy to find. I do a little baseball show too, painting corners with. I saw that one of your mods put it in the chat. I do everything, Mark. I love talking into a microphone. I love, chopping things up. I have a Northeast Ohio show called I-71 Rundown, where we just talk about all things Northeast Ohio sports, from the Cavs to the Browns, everything, with my boy Tyler. So I don't know, Mark, I'm like you, dude. I'm addicted to being on a microphone and sharing these thoughts before they just go away.
And also, you kick in for us on the Ohio State channel.
Heck yeah.
The Buckeye Brigade got going here a couple of weeks ago. So
every other Tuesday I'm with Garrison and the company.
Nice. Love that. As soon as I saw that lineup, didn't take me long to approve that one. I checked that one off.
It's a good lineup. We had Posh's daughter play Carmen, Ohio yesterday.
Yes.
Last time too, dude.
That was a highlight on social media.
Yeah.
I passed that one around. I was like, wow, that's amazing. That was bringing like tears to people's eyes. Absolutely. Well, you were going through reinventing some quarterbacks or introducing some technique there, some modern technique. How about Bryce Underwood? Have you had a chance to see him?
I have watched him throw. My goal is to make it out to Ann Arbor. My mom went to Michigan, and I've been in contact with a couple people out there. I just want to go watch him throw in person because the arm is huge. It really explodes out of his hands. He's a dynamic athlete. He's a dynamic personality. And I think that is important, especially in today's era, NIL-wise. I like him a lot. I just want to see it in pads now. I think I'm ready. But no, I like Underwood. I mean, he is. If there was a quote-unquote Jeremiah Smith of quarterbacks, I think it would look like Bryce Underwood.
Got a stat for you, Chris. You gotta track this one going forward. So it hit me, and I may have mentioned this to you when we had you on before, that one of my favorite off-season projects is so looking at standings from one season to the next. I used to think, okay, college football kind of stays the same because
recruiting
fill in the blanks at the top 5, it's the same all the time. But that doesn't translate all the way through college football like I thought at one point. And I would look at these preseason magazines like Athlon's, Street and Smith's, and they would pretty much just cookie cutter. Even the lower teams, they would pretty much, you'd see the same records and you would rarely see them take a chance on anybody. So I started to track this like 6-7 years ago, and I just chose 3 wins. I thought that's a significant difference from season to season. You go 6-6, you go 9-3, 3 wins, either going north or south. So I started to find a trend where like a third of the Power 5 teams, there was 29 last season that had a difference in wins by at least 3 out of the 70, 29 of them from season to season. So that being said, who do you see out there? And I know we got to get through the spring, and then you got to let things kind of settle in, soak in, and look at your predictions for, who do you think has a possibility as a breakout, or who could take a tumble this year, whether that's in the Big Ten or across the nation?
I'd have to look at some lines to make sure I'm not just like, piggybacking off what Vegas thinks, but I am very high on Illinois. Like very high. I think Illinois, first of all, they're returning a lot. That's big. Brett Bielema, it feels like things are kind of cooking over there. They've got depth on both lines. I think that's really important. And they ended the year on a hot streak at the end of the year, and they're bringing back the production that was hot. So I got Illinois very, very up. I think they could be this year's Indiana, and I feel really comfortable saying that. So them, I'm really locked in on. I really like what Cal's doing. Look, I think Devin Brown can play football. I like what they've done. I like their coaching staff. I don't know if you saw, but they brought in Ron Rivera as well to be a GM. They're going to be very, very aggressive in the portal. They've got 2 big tech boosters that are willing to spend to make their football good again. And I think Brian Harsin as an OC is perfect for them. I think he was in over his head as the head coach at Auburn, which it kind of showed itself. But I'm a big believer if you've got a coaching staff full of former head coaches, I think that's positive, especially when getting the culture is there and getting the talent is there too. So that's kind of one of the national teams I'm really high on. I'm worried about SMU this year. I don't know if they can repeat kind of the season they've had last year. So if I had to guess at a team going down, and then obviously I think Indiana's going to go down because I don't know if they can replicate last year. But honestly, the kid they got, I don't know, the quarterback from Cal is supposed to be real deal. I watched a decent amount of him late last year, but that's kind of my overall thoughts. But I'm buying as much stock as I can in Illinois.
Fernando Mendoza, he's a gamer. He's not loaded with talent. He doesn't have a gun, but he's a baller. He runs around and he makes it tough on defenses.
Yeah, and he was the most coveted. I don't know if you know, but he was fielding offers from Alabama and Georgia as well. And honestly, the Indiana thing was because of the family connection over there. So talk about a team that got a little fortunate.
Yeah. How does Curt Cignetti hit you?
I think Curt Cignetti is super misunderstood. I really do. I listened to him talk about this real briefly on Con Coward, which I suspected was true. He talks a lot. It's real gimmicky, real loud, I'm the man, we're the program, we're next up. Ohio State sucks, Purdue sucks, they all suck, Michigan sucks. And you hear these and it's dang, He's arrogant, doesn't get it. And I can't wait to humble him. And then I heard him speak about why he operates that way. And I'm like, I understand. He said he has to operate this way because when he doesn't operate this way, people within Indiana don't believe it. So he says, if I can do this and I can give and I can be the shield for these people to experience belief in their football program for the first time, I'll do it. Because if I don't, we're done for.
And that's what hit me when he made the big statement and then he followed it up with all the other things that he said. I thought, would he do this somewhere else? Or is this just basically, I'm in Indiana, they get their teeth kicked in all the time, and I got to raise the expectations and give these people some hope and give them a little swag. Like, no,
we
blow
can
your chest
do it.
out
Like
a
you
little
don't
bit.
have to be afraid to get your teeth kicked in. We can do it. And so I think it's fascinating kind of watching the psychology that he's had to go through. Because, to a lot of casual football fans, they didn't really know too much about Cignetti. Like, they didn't know he was at Bama with Nick Saban. They didn't know kind of the success he's had at these smaller schools. And so it was kind of their first time hearing Cignetti on a mic talk about, Google me, I win, Ohio State sucks, Michigan sucks, Purdue sucks. Like, people hadn't heard that before. And while it did put a target on their back, when has anybody ever said, you know what, I can't wait to go play Indiana? When is, and I mean, they had Juju, who was a 5-star quarterback in the class, was taking multiple visits to Purdue. That doesn't happen unless Cignetti gets loud and makes people believe in it. And so I'm a Cignetti fan for that. He's going to give you a lot of annoying sound bites. I love sound bites. And he's going to be really misunderstood by a majority of college football fans. But dear Chris Cignetti, Chris Drew, I get it.
Don, we appreciate the contribution, man. Showing love, my guy Chris. This is a great collab.
Don B's a real one, man. I love Don. Thank you. I appreciate you, big dog.
I'm going to hit you with somebody else. I love throwing this guy out at people. PJ Fleck.
I'm not a Fleck guy, man.
There aren't many out there.
Are you a Fleck guy?
I'm a Fleck guy.
Oh, no.
Our buddy Steve Days at Michigan Podcast. I wish I could remember the denomination. He ties some church denomination and calls him like the Presbyterian youth pastors with with the sweater vest and the tie and the way everything's lined up as a speech. The
messaging just never worked with me. It never did. It was a little bit too youth pastory, a little bit too used car salesman on top of it. I just never liked it, I guess. And also, like, back in the day when all the Twitter debates were like, who do you like better? PJ Fleck or Scott Frost? I used to be all in on Scott Frost. Boy, was I wrong, but I was all in on Scott.
Well, he's the other end of the spectrum. He just doesn't have a good day. Scott Frost. He's got a scowl on his face all the time.
No, Scott Frost, and honestly, if coaching doesn't work out, if he's done at UCF after however many years, he needs to go take up acting and be the villain, because he strikes me as he's just easy to root against, man. But I like Scott. I think football's better when I see his rosy cheeks on the sideline. So.
Yeah, I don't know if UCF's making the best decision there, just thinking that, they're going to catch lightning in a bottle again with him.
Well, yeah, but also, think about it, Mark. They know that if he does get things going over there, are they going to lose him again? Or does he now know what the other side looks like? The grass is not always greener. So on the case that they do catch lightning again, they won't have to release it, because no way he uses them as a stepping stone job twice, right?
But see, I like PJ in the same way that I like Dabo Sweeney. And I know a lot of people hate Dabo Sweeney because they both have me convinced that it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
For as corny as it may be, I think it's genuine.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know if it's. Here we go. Dabo's done a better job in selling me that it's genuine than PJ. But with Dabo, my thing is it genuine to you? And do people actually believe in it? Or do you just believe in it so much you're going to make others believe? With PJ, I can't tell if he actually believes in it. With I know Dabo believe whatever he's drinking over there. I know he believes in it. I wonder sometimes if Fleck believes in it, or if he's just trying to sell it.
Does Bill Belichick, is that going to work at North Carolina?
Dude, Mark, if I went in a time machine and I ran into you 3 years ago. I tapped you on the shoulder. We're at the mall. We're at Summit Mall. Shout out Summit County. And I say, Mark, you're never going to believe this. My DeLorean's out front. I just came back from the future. And the next head coach after Mac Brown is done at UNC is going to be Bill Belichick. And he's going to have a 23-year-old girlfriend that is also involved and gets copied on every email. You're going to look around and tell me what.
Run that last part by me. I didn't know this. She gets copied on every email.
Bill Belichick asked his staff to copy her on every email.
What is that all about?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. I don't know. I thought it was fake at first until I saw the full story with the email that the person got sent back. But I'm saying, like, if I tapped you on the mall and I said, look, Doc is waiting for me back home in the future.
No. Although it's almost like, and I know that this wasn't the intent. It wasn't like you see some football programs where they're unsuccessful or have a bad end of a run with one coach. And so they go swing the opposite direction. Like, oh, we went full offense, so we're going with the defensive guy, or there's some kind of, personality different. Well, with them, they kind of did. They stayed on the grandpa level, but they went from like the big cuddly Mac Brown, the nice guy, to
the dad at the told me he's loved me in 20 years.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, it's funny because it's like they went from the oldest coach in the sport to oldest coach in the sport. Wild times.
Good stuff. Chris Drew, Menace the Sports, Monday through Friday with Zach Smith. It's right here on YouTube or on your favorite audio platform. And again, just follow him on Twitter. You can find everything right there. Chris, man, good to see you. Thanks for answering the call, buddy.
Oh, always. I'm pretty easy to find. And honestly, like when we're able to get our schedules lined up, oh, absolutely. I like coming on because I like talking. Maybe I'm the bad guy here.
No. But the talking's got to make sense. So I just, the most annoying people on the planet are the people that like to talk, but nothing makes sense coming out of their mouth. So that both have to work.
Yes,
there.
They
There's
both
got to be a brain attached.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Mark, like I think because I grew up and I didn't really watch many cartoons. I watched just like sports talk radio. And I just remember like there were times I was about in the 7th or 8th grade. I was 7th grade because I was going to the Jewish school, the JCC in Littman. And I remember watching Mike and Mike in the morning and like hearing them talk about sports. And it was the first time that like a sports take clicked for me. And I stood up and I wanted to talk back to them. And then that was it. Maybe that's why I'm not a great athlete, because it's like when I was in the 7th grade, I decided I want to talk sports, not play sports.
Yeah, kind of my realization that I was kind of a nerd when it came to this kind of stuff was that I was like a sophomore in high school and we had some kind of English paper due. And I wrote a just mammoth, like 3-inch paper on why there should be a college football playoff. And I'm fairly old, so this happened way before the college.
That's like
I wrote this, there should be a 16-team college football playoff.
Do you still have it? Or are you gonna
things like that? I'll have to dig. I'll have to dig for that one. I do have my like 10,000 word like 1984 NFL preseason.
Oh heck yeah!
Public no, like that I wrote.
That you wrote, yeah,
that I wrote.
Crazy.
I would do weird things like that. Yeah.
No, we were kind of. I mean, I used to have like a college football notebook every year that I would write in, and like I would do my little preseason just for me, and then like go through and like make notes throughout the games that I watched. And that was kind of that. I mean, that was what I did growing up every year. So I couldn't wait for that opening weekend in college football. It was like, I mean, it was that Christmas and opening day for baseball. Like those are the three things.
Opening day in baseball. You know what I used to do that made absolutely no sense is I would take the Sunday paper. Remember, they would have everybody's Major League Baseball statistics in Sunday's paper. But it bothered me that they only went through Friday's games because they couldn't turn the paper around and get Saturdays. So I'd take Saturday's box scores and I'd get out a notepad and I would add them
to the back of it
so they would be up to the date. Yeah.
That's good stuff. I didn't realize are you a baseball guy too?
I was such a baseball fan. I was a bigger baseball fan than anything.
Really? Are you not really anymore though?
I'm not now.
You're out of it. Are you on the side that analytics ruin the game?
No, I can't even explain to you why I fell out of love with baseball. But it's not like it would be torture for me to sit down and watch a baseball game.
Yeah, more just
I
like
still
it's hard
love
to
the sport.
follow.
It's the most beautiful sport.
Yeah. I pitched in high school, and I have like this weird like thing where I love closers, like the act of jogging, like no other sport has it. Like there's no, like, imagine in football if like there was a quarterback for the first 3 innings or for the first 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden the lights start flickering and there's a quarterback in the back wings warming up and jogging out there. If like that is what I had a real fascination with, because it was almost like facing an entirely different defense just for 1 inning for 3 outs. So
if I would ask you your favorite closer of all time, would you give me the obvious answer, being a Yankees fan?
I would, because I think Mo's the best closer ever, but I do have like fascination with other closers. You know, Krimble but close for the Braves for a long time. Like he was kind of your flamethrower.
Sure.
I get intrigued by the closers that don't throw very hard sometimes, but nowadays they all throw hard.
Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, there you go. That's a deep cut. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can cover you on baseball. Just like the last 5 years, I've kind of blanked out. Now, when the Yankees, and I think we talked about this last time you run, when with the Yankees playing the Guardians in the playoffs last year, my best friend and my son kind of dragged me back in, and I was locked in for that series.
Yeah, I went to game 4 and 5. We did talk about that.
Nice.
So I like some of the new pitches that we're seeing now too. Like, I don't know like how much you're locked in, but like sweepers are being thrown more now. Like splitters are being thrown more now. Paul Skeens throws what they call, I actually don't like this one, but it's a splinker. Is
Paul
what it's
Skeens,
called.
he's the guy that throws really hard for the Brewers, right?
For the Pirates. Paul Skeens plays for the Pirates.
Yeah.
He's the one that went to LSU, and he's dating Libby June, the girl from LSU.
Yeah. Okay.
So
now the splitter, Roger Craig was the inventor of the splitter, or at least he was the master of teaching the splitter back in the day for the San Francisco Giants.
I know that Roger Clemens has the best splitter ever, is my belief.
Okay.
And then Kurt Schilling second.
Kurt Schilling. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, Chris, it's been a great time. You're always welcome, man.
Thank you.
You have a great weekend.
I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely, we will.
Bye, Mark.
Thanks, man. All right, Chris always delivers for us. Great to have him on. We will talk to Zach Smith here soon as well. We'll get him back on the show. Haven't seen Zach for a while, but man, it's great to talk to Chris and great to talk to all of you. So I want to remind everyone that while we do this show every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's a Monday through Friday is the best way to say it. Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to crank up a late night call-in show starting the week of, like April 6th. That Friday night, we'll do a late night call-in show at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So every weekend, meaning like Sunday, we will decide, we will let either I will select somebody, I will throw out to the crowd and say, somebody tell me where and when we need to do this call-in show, this late night call-in show this week. And we'll either have just somebody randomly selected for that week, or maybe we'll take a vote, but it's going to change day and time each week. So we keep it moving around so we can get people a different audience in here. And I understand that if we did it late night every Friday night or Wednesday night, whatever we would pick, that some of you would not be able to make it at all. So we want to move it around and keep it interesting. So one late night call-in show, at least one late night call-in show. Maybe I'll pop in from time to time when there's breaking news and other things, or I just feel like it. I used to feel like it a lot more often, and we would do a late night call-in show on a regular basis. So great to see everyone here. And certainly we hit a home run with Chris here. And Don, thank you so much for the super chat. We'll be back here at the Voice of College Football with another call-in show coming up on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is probably the next time you're going to see me. The guys get together for the College Football After Dark show. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. You can be on the panel if you become a member. So, like, I believe just in the last couple of days, we've had Doreen and Minnie become members. You know what that allows you to do? You can be on the panel of the College Football After Dark show. So we need to get the link out to everyone that's either a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member, and you can be on the panel. You can jump in and out. You can stay for the entire time, but that is wide open. Our College Football After Dark show exists only for all of you who are members here at the Voice of College Football to be able to jump on and talk college football all night if you want to. All right. Appreciate all of you. We will see you next time. And again, for me, that's Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And for the rest of you, College Football After Dark coming up on Sunday night.